This is the fourth video of this series, and this is the second test of Cambridge 17, reading passage 1, The Dead Sea Scrolls. In this reading test, we've got two question types, note completion and true-false not given. We had true-false not given in the previous video. Here we're just gonna practice another one, but note completion is kind of new here. Note completion is in fact a kind of summary completion, and IELTS itself categorizes them together on their website. The only difference is that the given information is in the form of several notes, referred to as notes. Now, let's begin. This question type, similar to summary completion, assesses your ability to understand details and or the main ideas of a section of text. The answers are usually in the same order. That makes it easier. And you don't need to read the whole text because the answers are from one part of the text. Knowing this saves you a lot of time. Now, the first step to take is to skim the notes to have a general understanding, to know the topic. Then you highlight the keywords. Try to guess the word classes, part of speech, if we need a noun, a verb, etc. Then try to guess answers. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not. So don't spend a lot of time on this stage. If you can, simply move on. Next, we have to scan the keywords in the text, and you know that we're looking for paraphrases. Then we read the part carefully and then decide. You know that scanning is not enough. It just helps us to find the location. In order to answer, we need to read that part carefully or closely. And the last point is that we need to make sure the answers are meaningful and grammatically correct. So let's begin. Let's look at the title, The Dead Sea Scrolls. And if you have a quick look, skim the text, look at the content words, verbs, nouns, adjectives. You will quickly get the topic. And after that, we highlight the keywords, guess the part of speech, and so on. I've done this here for you. You can pause and have a read. Now, let's begin. The first keyword here is 3 Bedouin shepherds, and then near an opening, cliff, heard a noise, 1 teenager threw a. So we're looking for a noun. Let's look at the text. This keyword, the first one, Bedouin, is appeared in line 1, paragraph 1. 3 Bedouin teenagers were tending their goats and sheep near the ancient settlements of Qumran. Tend somebody or something means to care for somebody or something, and shepherd, a man whose job is to look after sheep. So these teenagers were shepherds because they were tending their goats and sheep. So the answer must be in that part, so we need to read it carefully and then decide. So we have the year here, then 3 Bedouin teenagers and so on, and in the last line we have one of these young shepherds tossed a rock into an opening on the side of a cliff and was surprised to hear a shattering sound. So instead of threw a, in the text we have tossed. Tossed means to throw something carelessly. Then heard the noise of breaking. In the text we have the paraphrase to hear a shattering sound. So he threw a rock. The answer is rock. If you remember, we said the answers are in order, so we keep reading. Next, we have teenagers went into we're looking for a place, found something, a number of containers, made of something. So we're looking for material. In line 1, we have he and his companions later entered the cave and stumbled across a collection of large clay jars. Teenagers, in the text we have he and his companions, meaning people who were with him, went into, entered, found. In the text we have stumbled across, to find something by accident. Then a number of, a collection of, and containers. Here we have jar. Jar is a container to keep food, etc. Here we have large clay jars. We have large, which is the size, but if you remember, we said we're looking for a material, and here we have clay for that. So the answer is clay. Next, we have the year in line 2, and then written by a group of people known as the. So we know that we are looking for a noun, a proper noun. Here we have the area was known as Judea at that time, and the people are thought to have belonged to a group called Essens. So, written by a group of people. In the text, we have people are thought to have belonged to a group called. Are thought to means are believed to, belong to be owned by, and called to use a title and a name for people. And here they're called Essens. You may fall for the first part and write the answer Judea, which is wrong, because here it says the area was known. And here we're looking for people who are called. So Judea is not the answer. Essence is the answer because there are people and we're looking for people. And the last one in note completion, written mainly in and the language. So clearly we're looking for the name of a language. Here we have the majority of the texts on the Dead Sea Scrolls are in Hebrew. Mainly means mostly, the largest part of something. In the text we have the majority of the texts are in. So majority, the large number of. And here the answer clearly is Hebrew. So as I mentioned earlier, the answers are in the same order, which makes it easier. And you don't need to read the whole text because the answers are only in one part of the text. Moving on, true, false, not given. Like I mentioned earlier, we had this in video 1. And also we had yes, no, not given in video 3. So I assume you're already familiar with that. For this question type, first we need to read the questions and underline key information. Scan the text for keywords, and again, we're looking for paraphrases. And then we need to read that part carefully and then decide. And the answers appear in the same order, again, makes it easier. So let's begin. Bedouin teenagers who found the scrolls, disappointed by means it made them unhappy, and how little money they received. Here in the text we have the teenagers took the 7 scrolls to a nearby town where they were sold for a small sum to a local antiquities dealer. Sum means an amount of money. Antiquities dealer is a person who buys and sells antiques. Antiques are old and often valuable objects. So here in the question it says they were disappointed because they received little money. But in the text we don't have any information about them being disappointed or unhappy. We just have information about that they sold them for a small sum, but no information to show that they were unhappy or disappointed. So the answer is not given. Next one. So there is agreement among academics. It means they all think the same about the origin of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Origin, where something comes from originally. In the text we have the origin of the Dead Sea Scrolls is still the subject of scholarly debate even today. Still, continuing until now, subject, a thing or person that is being discussed. Scholarly, connected with academic study. And debate, an argument or a discussion expressing different opinions. So the question says they all think the same, but the text says they all think differently. They disagree. They have different ideas. They have different opinions. Therefore, the answer is false, because what the text says is quite the opposite of what the question says. Number 8, most of the books, Bible, on the scrolls, incomplete. So when something is incomplete, it is not finished or it's not complete. The Dead Sea Scrolls include fragments. A fragment means a single part of something or a part that is not complete. The only entire book of the Hebrew Bible preserved among the manuscripts from Qumran is Isaiah. So entire means whole, complete. This is exactly what the question says. Most of the books are incomplete because the text says there is only one complete book that is preserved, that still is available in a complete form. Therefore, it is true. Next, we have the information on the copper scroll written unusual way. When something is unusual, it is different from what is usual or normal. In this paragraph, we have copper scroll, this curious document, and so on. Curious means strange and unusual, so it is exactly what the question says. Therefore, it is true. And number 10, more Samuel given scrolls as a gift. In this paragraph, we have Mar Samuel acquired 4 of the original 7 scrolls, paying less than $100. Well, he didn't receive them as a gift, he paid for them. So it's quite the opposite of what the question says. Therefore, it is wrong. Acquire means to get something by buying or being given it. He paid, therefore they were not gifts. You may read the last 3 lines and see the word gift and think, oh, this could be the answer. It is not, because that part is totally different. Question 11, early 1950s, a number of educational establishments, U.S., keen to buy scrolls, Samuel. So they were keen to, it means they were very interested, very eager, and wanted those scrolls so much. In the text we have, he then traveled to the United States and unsuccessfully offered them to a number of universities. Unsuccessfully, in a way that is not successful, without achieving or getting what you want. Offer, to make something available for sale. So he actually offered them and wanted to sell those scrolls to those universities, but they did not accept. So the question says the universities were keen, they wanted to buy, but what the text says is quite different. Number 12, scroll, pieced together, contains information, annual occasions, Qumran area, 2,000 years ago. Here in the text, we have this information that researchers restored and deciphered one of the last untranslated scrolls. Restore, to repair something. Decipher, to change something written into normal language so everybody can read and understand. Then reassembling the 60 fragments. Reassemble, in the question for reassemble, we have pieced together. Reassemble, to fit the parts of something together again after it has been taken apart. Next, we have provide insight. Provide insight means to make it more understandable, to make it clearer. Then in the text, we have 346-day calendar. In the question, we have annual occasions. Annual means 1 year. So it's exactly, again, what the question says. They restored them, they put them together, they reassembled them, and they managed to make them understandable for people. And it included some information about their calendar. And the last question, academics, Haifa, currently researching, decipher, the final scroll. Here in the last paragraph, we have researchers from the University of Haifa. And in the last line, only one more known scroll remains untranslated. So academics, in the text we have researchers, and final, meaning last, in the text we have only one. There is no information about that they're doing this now and they're trying to decipher that, to decode that, to make it more understandable and working on this at the present time. Therefore, it is not given. So as I mentioned earlier, the answers are in the same order. You can see that here. Knowing this saves you a lot of time. So if you cannot find, for example, number 8, don't waste your time. Work on the rest of the questions. Later, you know where to go and check number 8. It will be between 7 and 9, and you know the approximate location for that. All right, hope you found it useful. Have a nice day.